So news is coming out of McKelty's Patreon that she said that TLC made the rules, the COVID rules. So I want to know, did TLC make the COVID rules that Cody could go from house to house to house, but none of the families could get together from house to house? That was early on. And everyone was like, that's not how bubbles work. If you're going from house to house, the houses can get together as well. Did TLC make the rules that he can't be away from his tender age children for more than 48 hours? Was that their rule? Was it TLC's rules that the nanny could come into their household every day and leave and go home to a husband who also worked out of the house, but that no one could come over? Was that a TLC rule? There probably was TLC rules. I'm not saying that there's no TLC rules. Most production companies had COVID rules that they had to deal with. Many of them involved the fact that they self-filmed for huge periods of time. I feel like even through season 17, you could see when they were self-filming, you always could tell because Cody was like this close to the camera, and it was very disconcerting on a big screen TV. But Janelle and Christine were there for every couch interview, so they were clearly following whatever COVID rules were required by either TLC or their production company. I don't know who. And a lot of those rules involved like daily testing or even vaccinations, which we know Cody didn't get, or I shouldn't say we know. We've been told by family members that he hasn't gotten, and we know that someone like Janelle has. So I'm sure TLC did have rules, but did they have those rules? Did they have a rule that said that Cody could go to Janelle's mom's funeral, but he couldn't go to Isabel's? Even he couldn't have gone to help her through the actual surgery because he said he couldn't be away from the quarantine. Later on, did the TLC make the rules that he could go to gun shows and weddings and all that, but he couldn't help Isabel move because of the COVID? That's what Isabel said. In his interview, he said he didn't want to be with Christine, but he told Isabel, or Isabel believed that it was because of COVID. Did TLC make the rule that McKelty and Tony could come over and the kids could crawl all over them and hug them, and they could hold that Cody and Robin could hold the newborn babies, but the next day, these same kids couldn't sit too close to Truly because she had been, sitting at home. They act like she has this high exposure job. She's 11? And so this whole TLC is behind this. I'm sure TLC did have rules, and because Christine and Janelle and even Gabe and Garrison filmed with them, they must have followed them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen them. You would have seen they can't do it because of filming or whatever. So I'm not for a second buying that TLC is the reason for Cody and Robin's rules.